one of the most famous fighters of his generation, fighting in one of the famous stadiums in the world. Can you imagine being AJ right now? A lot of pressure too, though. Don't get it twisted. You've got to perform in front of 96,000 of your closest friends.
Mamma mia, Rosie, a social media sensation turned boxer has turned the sport on its ear. This is incredible. And what must be going through this 27-year-old mind, like so many members of his generation, dealing with mental health issues? Here we go!
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua has sparked heated debate among boxing experts. Most predict Joshua would control the fight thanks to his size, power, and top-level heavyweight experience. His Olympic background and history of knockouts give him a huge advantage. Jake Paul has improved, beating MMA fighters and lower-level boxers, but he has never faced a true world-class heavyweight. Analysts say Paul's only chance would be an early surprise punch, while Joshua's discipline and jab would dominate the bout. Many expect a one-sided Joshua stoppage within a few rounds. While the matchup is exciting for fans, professionals overwhelmingly see Joshua winning comfortably.
A few times on it. I mean, there's nothing to report to you that it's close, or, you know, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. Of course, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. We also work very closely with His Excellency, and although we have no contract with him, we're in talks for big fights next year, of course, Tyson Fury being one of them. So we'd definitely give him the respect of making sure that he was aware of the plan and, you know, part of that plan as well. But at the moment, you know, there's nothing major to report on that. Would we take the fight? Absolutely. I think Jake would be... I mean, my estimations of Jake Paul would go through the roof if he signs to fight Anthony Joshua, because I just can't believe in my mind that he would do something like that. I mean, Gervonta was a smart one because of his size. Like, you know, I think actually he would have had a lot of success against Jake Paul, but the size is a problem. But this would just be, you know, like if Jake Paul was to take the fight with AJ, you'd really have to maybe carry his balls in a wheelbarrow on the ring walk, you know, because that would be, because AJ wouldn't mess around in there, you know. So it would be huge, but nothing, you know, to tell you it's close.
The fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is officially scheduled for December 19, 2025, at the Casa Center in Miami, and will be broadcast worldwide on Netflix. This is not an exhibition, it's a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight bout under Queensberry rules, featuring 8 rounds of 3 minutes each with 10-ounce gloves. To even the playing field, Joshua has agreed to a contracted weight limit of 245 pounds, which is unusually low for him. With both fighters putting their records on the line, this high-stakes clash promises real consequences. A knockout or decisive result is very much on the table.
Will face the 2-time unified heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua on Friday, December the 19th in Miami, Florida. It's going to be an 8-round fight with 3-minute rounds and 10-ounce gloves. It's Joshua's first fight since being knocked out by Daniel Dubois in September last year. Jake Paul won a unanimous decision against veteran Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. earlier this year. Well, Jake Paul said this: a professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt disappears and no one can deny me the opportunity to fight for a world title. To all my haters, this is what you wanted. To the people of the United Kingdom,
the boxing community and fans have shared strong opinions about Jake Paul's challenge to Anthony Joshua. Many feel that Paul's ambition to face a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua is unrealistic and overly ambitious.
Deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, "At Jake Paul is the truth." Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights. Then he asked for the toughest fights ever, and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo, Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind, you're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone.
But Dave Allen strongly warns that Anthony Joshua could harm his reputation by agreeing to fight Jake Paul. He argues that if Paul even lands a clean shot, it could undermine everything Joshua has built in his career. Allen believes the matchup is more about entertainment than sport and doubts Joshua would want to take that risk. He suggests many serious boxing fans would see the fight as a step down, and Joshua could lose respect in the boxing community by facing a YouTuber-turned-boxer like Paul.
Lost to Tommy Fury. Anthony Joshua cannot box Jake Paul. Horrific. He's dangerous for one, and two, if Jake Paul even lands a glove on him, it just diminishes everything that he's achieved. Jake Paul won't last 2 minutes for me. Never mind Anthony Joshua. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
If AJ does say yes to going in against Jake Paul, does he harm his legacy?
I would lose a bit of respect for him, and I think a lot of boxing people would as well, to be honest. Why would he box him? Two-time heavyweight champion of the world, one of the best heavyweights the last 20 years, held British boxing on his back. People might say he deserves to box Jake Paul. But why though? Why would he do it?
Did you lose respect from when he fought Ngannou? Did you lose respect from Fury when he fought Ngannou?
Ngannou's a serious fighting man. World champion in mixed martial arts.
It's a worrying thing, potentially, the damage that AJ could do to Jake Paul.
He'll hurt him. Yeah, Jake Paul is a cruiserweight. You wouldn't put the Midlands area cruiserweight champion with Anthony Joshua, so why would you put Jake Paul in there? Just because he's a superstar, whatever. I don't know what he does. What does he do? What is he?
A YouTuber.
It's just not worth it. He's got enough money as it is. Why risk all that for a few more quid? I don't like it. I hope it.
Since the fight is expected to be an official bout rather than an exhibition, Roy Jones Jr. has expressed doubt that Jake Paul could become a legitimate world champion. He argues that Paul has mostly avoided truly battle-tested opponents, and if he faces highly experienced boxers, they would likely defeat him. While Jones acknowledges Paul could eventually get a title shot, he believes it would only happen under very favorable circumstances. He remains skeptical about Paul's chances of winning a real championship.
No. Why? I think if they make him fight tough opponents, guys with experience, those guys will beat him. Now, if you catch somebody like myself at the end of their career, or somebody like Tyson, he caught at the end of their career, the chances are much higher. Because now it becomes over 50-50. You got a guy who's better than him, but the age factor. You understand me? And that's the only way to balance it for him to make it a 50-50 fight. Somebody who's on his level at the same age, those guys have too much experience. You understand me? So he's not going to beat those guys. But you find a guy who is past his prime, who has a mentality further than his, but past their prime, it kind of evens.
Anthony Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has dismissed Jake Paul's boxing skills, calling him an average fighter. Hearn has repeatedly questioned whether Paul can compete at the highest level, especially against someone like Joshua. He argues that although Paul has improved, he is still far from the level needed to face elite heavyweights.
Good for the sport of boxing.
Yes, I know these guys. They're unbelievably bright. I mean, Logan, much brighter than Jake, in my opinion. But Jake's smart.
Okay.
Content creator. I mean, we have our ups and downs. Yeah. I respect Jake. I actually respect him in a boxing sense as well. But we fell out because I told him he was average. That's actually a compliment. Like, to be an average fighter, coming to this kid who's 26, 27, decides to go into boxing. We had a conversation where he's actually telling me he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. And I'm looking around for cameras. I'm thinking, am I might...
Eddie Hearn also highlighted Jake Paul's bold claims, including saying he could beat Canelo Alvarez. Hearn called this statement insane and believes Paul is greatly overestimating his abilities. While Paul has beaten former MMA fighters and less experienced boxers, the idea that he could challenge world-class fighters like Canelo or Joshua is seen as laughable by many experts.
And it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in, Francis Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury in Ngannou was when it came around, or or Mayweather McGregor.
Simon Jordan, the former Crystal Palace owner and outspoken boxing pundit, has issued a strong warning to Jake Paul about his proposed fight with Anthony Joshua. Jordan argues that the matchup mocks the sport, claiming Paul lacks the skill and legitimacy to face a heavyweight icon like Joshua. He believes the fight undermines boxing's credibility and represents everything wrong with the sport. According to Jordan, Paul would be crushed in such a bout. Not only is it a risky gamble for Paul, but it also cheapens Joshua's legacy by turning a serious competition into a spectacle.
Player welfare, and he is in a situation where someone's welfare should be considered in the equation, not his financial welfare, but Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position after the loss to Daniel Dubois. Jake Paul, if this is not going to be, curated into a little dance around exhibition, could find himself in a way of getting seriously hurt here, like Francis Ngannou did. Francis Ngannou was an MMA fighter that got blasted out by Anthony Joshua. A fitter, more focused Anthony Joshua than the version we've got now, possibly. But this, to me, is everything that's wrong with boxing. It's a money play, nothing wrong. I don't begrudge Anthony Joshua getting 50 million quid for an easy night's work. That's fantastic returns. Most people would take it. From the boxing world, Jake Paul is now a professional fighter. Whether we categorise him as a YouTuber or not, he's licensed to fight, which means that the governing body should be suggesting that this is not a fight that possibly they should be looking to sanction.
Yeah.
But they will, because the sanctioning fees will be enormous. Anthony Joshua will not lose his legacy like some people are suggesting, because no one will remember it in 2 or 3 years' time. If he embarrasses himself in there, they'll remember it. If he goes in and knocks him out in 30 seconds flat, or turns it into a little bit more of a sort of Jake LaMotta, Raging Bull, holding him up for a few rounds and then knocking him out, then people will forgive it. He'll get a big bag of money, which most people in the world would take, and move on. And then we'll see if he fights anybody meaningful in the year. I mean, it is like sport has become. And what I got my head around on Saturday night was the entertainment value of Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. The fighting of itself, I could be all pious about it, but the entertainment industry is so prevalent in sport now. This is entertainment. This is going to have hundreds of millions of people watching it. Of course. And Anthony Joshua gets paid, and Jake Paul hopefully gets flattened.
Simon, I know the money's there, but does ultimately boxing get damaged?
Well, I think so. But I think boxing damages itself left, right, and centre. But I think the reputability and the credibility of some of these boxing sanctioning bodies is poor anyway. But I think it does get damaged.
Even if it's an exhibition fight, which it might well be.
Well, then what's the jeopardy in that? If it's an exhibition fight, which it shouldn't be, if it's a proper fight, then Jake Paul is going to get demolished.
David Benavidez has acknowledged that Jake Paul is one of the biggest names in boxing for attracting attention and selling fights. While many purists criticize Paul's skills, Benavidez believes his presence in the sport brings excitement and creates financial opportunities.
Benavidez, what are you looking forward to the most tonight at Bare Knuckles?
Honestly, this is my first time being at a bare knuckle fight, and it's already starting amazing, and I'm just here to come to see the gore, the blood, and all that, so it's been living up to the hype.
I want to ask you about Jake Paul wanting to fight Anthony Joshua. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good fight. If they can make it happen, then let's do it, you know what I mean? Jake Paul is a big household name. Anthony Joshua, needless to say, he's one of the greatest champions of boxing, so if they can get it done, that'll be a huge fight for boxing, and I said let's do it.
You were in the talks to fight the ball. What are your thoughts on that? Is it in the works? So when is it happening?
So right now we're trying to negotiate the fight. It might be in the works for September, but we don't know. You know, everything in boxing is not 100%, so we're just going to keep trying to negotiate the fight, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora has strongly criticized the idea of Jake Paul receiving a WBC ranking, calling it a disrespect to boxing. Chisora argued that real fighters work hard to climb the rankings, while Paul, facing non-ranked or past prime opponents, would advance mainly because of fame, not merit. He accused WBC President Mauricio Sullivan of sacrificing credibility for money, saying, "That is a disgrace to boxing. That is unfair." Chisora stressed that meaningful rankings should be earned in the ring, not given for clicks or promotional value.
Weight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers, to get those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Tuesday decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his back pocket. No, that is.
Lawrence Akoli has raised serious concerns about Jake Paul's potential fight with Anthony Joshua, warning it could be a major safety risk. Although Akoli once sparred with Paul and praised his dedication and mindset, he now believes facing AJ, who has elite power and technique, would be dangerously mismatched. Many boxing professionals share this worry. Eddie Hearn called it dangerous, very dangerous. Frank Warren noted Joshua's clear physical advantage, while former world champion Amir Khan also cautioned Paul that he could get seriously hurt in the ring against Joshua.
On this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake Paul, it doesn't sit right. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight. Yeah. Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it.
Former world champion Carl Froch does not take Jake Paul seriously as a boxer. Froch says Paul doesn't truly know how to box and just moves around the ring. After watching Paul's fight against Tommy Fury, Froch called it a complete mismatch and said Paul is far from being a legitimate contender.
Take Jake Paul, that's serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. He swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like you put him in with someone his own size. It was a professional, and it's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him, he's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He's probably...
MMA fighter Darren Till has weighed in on the controversy, calling Jake Paul's challenge to Anthony Joshua disrespectful. He believes that despite Paul's marketing skills, he has not earned the right to face one of boxing's biggest names. Many in the boxing community share Till's view, feeling Paul is overstepping his limits. Paul has not only challenged Joshua but also claimed that Joshua lacks a chin and skill. This statement has angered fans and analysts, given Joshua's impressive career, multiple championships, and fights against elite opponents like Vladimir Klitschko and Alexander Usyk. Many believe Paul is simply seeking attention by disrespecting a seasoned professional.
Is it all just... Does he actually believe that he can beat Anthony Joshua? Is it all for clout? Is it all just to keep his... I don't know. I mean, fucking... It's a little bit disrespectful as well. Like, Anthony Joshua hasn't fucking been a heavyweight world champion, beating all these absolute killers just to get called out by Jake Paul. But look, if Jake Paul believes in himself, then, you know, you can't really fault that. Like, obviously, but sometimes it comes across as a bit delusion as well. Because I know for a fact that I'd fight Jake, I'd beat him up easy. Not easy.
The Paul versus Joshua fight seriously undermines boxing's credibility. It is seen as part of a trend of crossover or celebrity bouts that focus on entertainment rather than genuine competition. Sanctioning high-profile mismatches with social media stars cheapens the sport and diminishes its integrity. Instead of showcasing elite-level boxing, these spectacles prioritize showmanship over skill, risking long-term damage to the respect boxing holds among serious fans.
Paul hopefully gets flattened.
Simon, I know the money's there, but does ultimately boxing get damaged?
Well, I think so. But I think boxing damages itself left, right and centre. But I think the reputability and the credibility of some of these boxing sanctioning bodies is poor anyway. But I think it does get damaged.
Even if it's an exhibition fight, which it might well be.
Well, then what's the jeopardy in that? If it's an exhibition fight, which it shouldn't be, if it's a proper fight, then Jake Paul...
All right, everyone, stay up to date with the latest boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to Boxing Glory and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos as well. Until next time, take care and stay safe.